All right, our third day of review topics for calculus, for preparation for calculus. Inverse function slope, point slope form of the equation of a line, finding zeros or roots on the graphing calculator, and asymptotes. So to find an inverse, you switch x and y and solve for y. If you learned it to solve for y first and then switch x and y, that's the same thing. So first we're going to think about this as our y. So we're going to switch x and y. So our equation changes to this. And then we have to subtract 5 from both sides first. We cannot raise both sides to the power of 4 until we've isolated the root. So we're going to divide by -1 on both sides. And we get -x plus 5 and the fourth root of y minus 3. Then we can raise both sides to the 4th power. Remember, you have to raise the whole side to the 4th power, and you cannot just distribute a power inside of addition. We add 3 to both sides, so we have 3 plus -x plus 5, or 5 minus x to the 4th equals y. So that's the inverse function, and our notation for inverse is f inverse x. So we can write it this way if we want. Equals f inverse of x. Sorry, I guess I had that written over here already. So these two are inverse functions. To verify or prove that two functions are inverses, you need to show that the composite function of the inverse inside of the original simplifies down to the same thing as the composite function of the original inside the inverse, and they both should simplify to x. So these are the answers we had on the previous page. Let's put one inside of the other, both directions, and make sure that they simplify down to x. So this one we're going to do first. We're going to take this inside of this function. So 5 minus the 4th root of 3 plus the quantity 5 minus x to the 4th minus 3. So that was an x, and then I had to do the minus 3 from this part. So I want to simplify that, and instead of using equal signs in calculus, we always want to use arrows unless we know for sure something's equal, because as you're showing your work, you may not actually have two equivalent expressions. So we have 5 minus the 4th root, and inside this 3 and this -3 can add up to 0. So then we just have 5 minus x to the 4th, and the 4th root of a power simplifies to just the first power. And then the parentheses, we distribute that negative, and 5 minus 5 is 0, so it simplifies down to x. Now let's do it in the other direction. Let's put f of x inside of the inverse. So we're going to take this f of x and put it inside where the x is. So we're going to start by writing the original inverse function, 3 plus parentheses 5 minus, instead of x, we're going to put the whole function of f of x. So since we're subtracting a whole function, we need parentheses around it. So that's where the x was, and then that's to the 4th power. So all of this is in place of the x. So let's simplify. Inside the parentheses, we're going to distribute that minus sign, so minus 5 and then plus the 4th root of x minus 3. And that whole thing is to the 4th power. And then inside the parentheses still, we're adding the 5 and the -5, and they'd add up to 0. So we just have the 4th root of x minus 3 to the 4th power, and the 4th root and the 4th power cancel each other out. So we're just left with x minus 3, and 3 plus x minus 3 simplifies to x. So they both simplify to x, which is how you show that they are inverses of each other. You have to show it works both ways. way back to algebra. Remember our slope formula. You're going to have to get cozy and friendly with that. Find the missing value given that the slope between these 2 points is -4/3. So we'll call this y2 and this x2. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, b plus 2 over -6. We know that's the slope, and it's supposed to equal -4/3, so we have b plus 2 over -6 equals -4/3. And then you can cross multiply, and b plus 2 equals 8, so b equals, subtracting 2 on both sides, 6. Point slope form is where you leave the slope here and you don't multiply it through, and you leave the x and the y value not in that order. The x goes here and the y goes here. You leave them in. So first we find the slope, which we already know. Be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, -4/3. So that's our slope. And we can pick either point. I'm going to pick this one. So y minus y1 minus a -2 means +2 equals m times x minus x1. And that is the equation of the line. You don't have to simplify it anymore if all they're asking for is the equation of the line. Don't take time to distribute. Don't take time to subtract 2. Those will create mistakes, possibly, if you're not careful, and waste time. Find an equation of the line perpendicular to the above line. So if the above line has a slope of -4/3, then the perpendicular line is going to have a slope of +3/4, the opposite reciprocal. So we're going to do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Find an equation of the line parallel to the above line. So we're going to use that same slope, -4/3. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Use your calculator to find the zeros. So graphing calculator, you're going to type in 4 cosine 2x plus 7x minus 9 in your y1. Make sure you are in radians. We always use radians in calculus unless otherwise specified. And we're going to make our window go from -2 pi to pi. Round, we know what rounding means, but do you know what truncate means? Truncate means you chop off the end decimals after the value you want. I don't want to do that. Okay. Truncating means chop off the decimals. So if we want to the nearest 0.001, we chop off all the decimals after the third decimal place. So first we're going to type in 4 cosine 2x plus 7x minus 9. Was it 4x cosine 2x? No, just 4 cosine 2x. Oh, I should clear that out first. 4 cosine 2x. Notice it puts parentheses in there for me. Plus 7x minus 9. Don't forget to close the parentheses. Even though there weren't parentheses in the given problem, you have to assume that they are around the 2x. We're going to check our mode, make sure it's in radians, and it is. And then I want to fix my window to make sure it goes -2 pi to 2 pi. The rest are fine. We're going to graph it. And we want to find the zeros. That would be this place right here. So we're going to do second format. Sorry, calc. Okay, second calc. Sorry, intersect. Intersect is not what we want. We want the 0. And we want to click enter for the left bound, and then move over or just type in a 3 or something to the right of the 0. So anywhere to the right of that. So these little arrows show you the left and the right. And then you want to get kind of close to it for a guess and hit enter. And it's 1.7987688. Rounding, we're going to look at that third decimal place and look at the number to the right of it. If it's 5 or higher, we're going to round that up to a 9. So 1.799 is rounding. That's rounded. But truncate means we take the 1.7987 blah, 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 and we just chop off everything after the third decimal place. Now, truncating doesn't always have to be the third decimal place, but truncating means you chop it off at whatever value you want to have it be accurate to. So both of these are correct on the AP test. Okay, I guess I just had the answer there. Vertical asymptotes of all types of functions, whatever makes the denominator equal 0, after you've simplified the expression. So you can't just look at this and go, okay, 0 and -5 make this equal 0, so those must be my vertical asymptotes. Nope, you have to simplify the expression first. So on the top, I'm going to factor out an x. On the bottom, I already factored out an x. And now what makes the denominator equal 0 is a -5. So -5 is our vertical asymptote. That's also how you find the domain. Remember, you find what makes the denominator equal 0, but you find the domain before you simplify. This place right here where at x equals 0 that makes the denominator 0, that's not okay. It's something else. It's not a vertical asymptote, but it is bad because you can't have a 0 in the denominator. We'll talk more about that later. Horizontal asymptotes of polynomial functions, those are the ones with the x's, things with x on the top and x on the bottom, like that. Anything with x's in the top and the bottom, it could have a variable or a constant like 5 in the top and a variable in the bottom. Wherever there's just not trig, not square roots, not weird things. So here's the cases you learned in pre-calc. If the degree in the numerator is less than the degree in the denominator, then the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. I believe you called that bottom heavy. Because the highest power in the bottom was bigger. If the degrees are the same, use the ratio of the lead coefficients. So you just take the numbers that are out in front and divide those two. And if the degree in the top is bigger than the degree in the bottom, so you called that top heavy, then there is no horizontal asymptote. Well, that's a messy heavy. There you go. Then there's no horizontal asymptote. So this one would be top heavy. It would have no horizontal asymptote. Your homework's the pre-calc packet, almost finishing it up, and make sure you check your answers. Try to get everything right that you possibly can, and then fill out the Google form for day 3. Let me know if you have questions.